Welcome to Aussie Car Deals, the official first podcast. Now, we're going to be talking about a few things tonight. It's going to be more so on pretty much the start of the car buyer's journey. So this video is going to be really suitable for anyone who is just ready to buy a car and really at the start of the buying process. It can be for anyone. If it's your first car, if it's your 50th car, and you're not too sure where to go, some people watching this video will have a fair bit of experience about the stuff that I'm going to mention. I'm going to mention a whole bunch of my experiences. I'm going to tell you some industry things that you definitely don't know, few shady things that you definitely don't know. I think in these podcasts as well, I'm going to be quite raw. I'm going to tell you some things that I've done that I'm probably not so proud of, but we live and learn and we move on. We're trying to really build the car trade up now where we don't have any bad issues or any problems. And we just want to be straight shooters now and not have any issues. So that's what we're going to do tonight. So let me open up now what we're talking about. I've got a whole bunch of stuff here planned ready to go, guys. It's taken a long time to get this all sorted. We've finally got some of the production gear up and running. It's still not the best, but it's improved since our last video. Alright, so let's get into it. If you just mind me, I'm going to be just going back to my laptop with all my notes. So, alright, let's go. Okay, so the presentation tonight is going to be pretty much based on understanding the car buying process and a bit of a step-by-step guide. So you're going to, learn a fair bit tonight, and let's see how we go. And again, I just want to clarify, none of this advice, you need to do your own research, and double check it all, and all that kind of stuff. So, and as well, we certainly don't want to be putting other businesses out of business, and we don't want to put dealers or mechanics or anyone in trouble. We all want to do business, and we want to discuss just the process and how we can help, and just be straight, honest, and move forward. Okay, so the first thing we want to talk about, obviously, is budgeting. So in Australia at the moment, things are a bit hard. We're not too sure which way we want to go. Do you buy a cheap car off marketplace off some dodgy bloke you don't even know for $1,000 and get a ride out roadworthy off Bob your uncle and hope you don't end in a coffin? Do you go to Mercedes and buy a brand new Mercedes? Do you go through a dealership, a trusted dealer, and buy a good, solid used car or new car? You can buy cars anywhere. So budgeting is the first thing that that comes to your mind. And when you talk about budgeting, it's generally two things. Am I going to pay cash? So have I got it in the bank ready to go? Am I going to borrow the cash off mum or dad? Or am I going to be financing it, which a lot of people these days, they want a nice car, so they do look at the finance side of things. That's some of the stuff that I specialise in as well. So we're going to get into that all down the track. So obviously you want to the first thing you want to do is calculate your monthly costs on the purchase of your vehicle. What it's going to cost to run. So obviously, you've got your registrations, you've got your insurances, and you've got your servicing. Now, a big thing that I see time and time again when I trade in a car is the car has not been serviced. And the reason why so many people have so many issues with all these used cars is because the previous owner was so slack and they didn't follow the advice that they were given by either the dealer when they bought it new or used, or the plain manufacturer. And a general rule of thumb, as we all know, you generally service it every 10 to 15,000 Ks, and what needs to be fixed, you fix. So you need a budget for your servicing, and again, that's another topic that we can discuss later. You can do it on the cheap, you can do it yourself. There's a lot of people out there that are really handy these days with technology. There's lots and lots of stuff that you can buy to really understand what your car is doing. You can watch your YouTube videos and understand what's going on. You can pay your friend. You can go to the local mechanic and he'll give you some advice. So lots of options there. So servicing. And then obviously you've got tools and apps for your budgeting that you can use. So, do some research online to budget your money. The next thing you want to do, obviously, is do some research. So you want to work out what you want. And you need to identify the needs of your car. So, you know, if you're a single mum and you got lots of kids, you're going to need a big car. You know, if you're young and you want a race car and you want to impress your girlfriend, you know, you might want something, you know, a little bit sort of tricky. If you're into the four-wheel drives and the dual cab utes or the wagons and all that kind of stuff, which is really big in Australia, obviously dual cab 4x4, usually turbo diesel 4-wheel drive with all the gear on top will be something that you'll be leaning towards. So do your research, and the big thing that you need to do is you need to come to reality. You need to understand the difference between your needs and your wants. You know, granddad's going to tell you just buy a bloody Toyota Camry and stick with it and it'll go forever, but 9 times out of 10 that person goes and buys something different. You need to really be realistic and understand the purpose of what you want to do, because with a car purchase generally, if you are going to go down something more expensive, it's going to be the second biggest purchase before a house. So that's massive. So you need to have a bit of a think about what you're doing, not just go and throw a whole bunch of money at it and pray to God that, you know, everything's going to be okay. So researching, and obviously, you know, you want to look at all the different makes and models. We've got all the websites online that we can go through, you know, but I'm not going to mention them, but we all know who they are. Do your research, have a look at all the cars, the prices, the features. It's all online, so everything's at your fingertips. It's all free. There's plenty of good stuff out there that you can do to work out exactly what you want. With Aussie Car Deals, we're going to be looking at doing some AR stuff down the track, and a full online experience where you really don't have to leave your doorstep. We come to you, but we'll get to that later. Another thing that we want to talk about now is if you're not paying cash, so if you haven't got the money up front, you want to finance, and that's traditionally what I have specialised in for a long time. 90% of the cars that I've sold, all 5,000 of them in my career, traditionally have been financed. You know, I can't give financial advice, and I just want to make a disclaimer that this isn't financial advice. Go and seek your own advice. But financing is a really big one, and you know, I've come across, I reckon, probably most scenarios in the finance industry. You know, the good, the bad, and you know, there's a you know, a story for every walk of life there. But in regards to your financing, a few things that you can do before you start, which is a big one, is understanding your credit score. So it's free. You can jump online. Now, just to give you a bit of an industry tip as well, there's all these different credit score companies that are out there at the moment. A lot of them are not necessarily a true credit score. They give you a credit score, but they also want to get your data, and they want to try and sell you things. So there's a couple of credit companies that the financiers use. I'm not going to mention them, but if you go through the traditional methods, Equifax is the main one. You do get one free credit report every month, I believe it is, or every 3 or 6 months. It's free. Everyone in Australia can get one. So start off there. If you've got good credit, great. If you've got bad credit, you're going to have to seek some professional advice and some help, and work through your options. So that's probably the first thing that you want to do when you're looking at financing. And then you sort of want to start to understand the types of finance that are available for a car. So you've got lots of options. You've obviously got the dealership finance, and you've got the bank finance. There's a whole bunch of other finance sort of companies out there that can help you as well. There's all these different types of things. And again, I'm not going to get into all the financial jargon in this episode. You need to seek all that legal advice yourself. But basically, you can either go to the car yard, they'll do your finance, which is great, or you go to your bank, and they'll do your finance. They're also great. So all the finance companies are good, but you know, it's the old rule of thumb. You know, just shop around your best options. A lot of people don't have a lot of options because they're credit impaired, or you know, they just started a new job and it's a bit tough, so they don't have as many options. Some people have lots of options. So So yeah, they're generally your few options, and then obviously, you've got your different types of finance as well. So you've got your traditional loans, then you've got your business loans, or your leasing, and you've got your salary sacrifices and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of you will know that already. Again, it's all free information on the internet, so you can all research this, do all your own homework. If you want to reach out to us here at Aussie Car Deals. We've got our finance companies and brokers that can give you all the free legal advice first, finance advice first, to help you weather the storm, or want to know your options first. So once you do get yourself ready to go, you can then go out car shopping. Feel free to call me at any time or send me an email or comment. I'm happy to help out. But this episode really isn't focused on finance. But that's a little bit about the finance. And then obviously, when you do put in an application for finance, what traditionally will happen is once you apply, you speak to the broker, they'll get your details down, they'll do an application. It's always important to be 100% honest about everything when you do an application. So don't think that because you lie in your application, you're going to get approved. It very rarely happens. We're going to find out. It doesn't work. It doesn't help anyone. We don't sell you a car. You don't get a car. It's a mark on your credit file a lot of the time. So it's not good lying. So don't do that kind of stuff. We have come across that plenty of times, and it's a big waste of time for everyone, and we're not a fan of it. So be honest. Honesty gets you a lot further in life, I've learnt. So don't lie on your application. And then once you've done your application, you then generally send through your paperwork. So the broker will tell you what you need. They'll traditionally send you out an email or a link, or if you go through your bank, they'll have their own methods. You send through your paperwork that's required. Generally, a bit of ID, some pay slips, and a bank statement is what you generally need to get started with. You send that through, and then depending on your application and how quick your brokers are and how quick the finance companies are going at that time will depend on how quick you do get an approval. So there's actually a lot of things involved in getting finance. It's not as simple as ring up, send your paperwork through, and you get the money. That's not how it works. And in today's financial landscape as well, the finance companies are really onto it now, where they know, who's a good egg and who's a bad egg, and whatnot. So it's a lot trickier than you think. So don't rush things. I always find doing things, at a nice normal pace usually helps. So give the finance companies and the brokers time to get you the best deal possible, and it works in your favour because sometimes the longer they spend on the application, the better the deal you get, and it goes from there. So that's a bit of a process. So then after that, you'll then, if you do get approved, you'll get what's called a pre-approval. And then you sort of go from there. You speak to your dealer, your broker, your bank. They'll give you an indication where you're at for your pre-approval, and then you can pretty much go car shopping after that. So once you're pre-approved, there are a whole bunch of other things involved in that happens, but basically once you're pre-approved, you're usually good to go. There are conditions that you need to follow and adhere to, and there are rules and things depending on which lender and whatnot that you go through, because every finance company is different. That if they do take you on, there are rules and regulations that you have to follow. But pre-approval, you're good to go. That's when you can call Tommy and say, Tommy, get me a car. All right, so after that, give me 1 second. Alright, yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. So the big thing, the really good thing about getting a pre-approval beforehand is you save yourself a lot of time and a lot of mucking around, and you know where you're at straight away. So, we all want to drive a Ferrari, but a lot of the time we're driving a Camry, or we buy a Camry. Once you get that pre-approval, you sort of know where you stand, and that's when you'll know your options. And that's when you can, work out what you want and make sure that you're happy. Nothing ever goes to plan in the car trade for us dealers as well. Like I definitely put my hand up. I've stuffed up plenty of times and I've made mistakes, but we try and keep it as transparent and professional as possible, so everyone's happy. I had an issue today with the car that wasn't detailed properly, and the lady wasn't happy, and it upsets everyone. She's not happy, I'm not happy. It costs us more money, but that's just part of the business. But we you just got to keep going with these things. The thing with the car trade is that nothing's ever perfect. We obviously always try to be, but it's a really hard game to get 100% at. So so that's a few things there. Now the next thing is once all that's good to go, you can then pretty much go out car shopping. Now, if you're generally in Australia, if you're with a if you got a pre-approval with a broker, you've generally got to go through a dealer, but you don't. Sometimes you can go through a private buyer. They just generally will need an invoice, unless you go through other mechanisms. And again, this isn't financial advice. Big disclaimer. Do your own research. This is just based on my experiences and a bit of industry experience that I'm trying to help you out with. Definitely get your own research on all of this. But generally, when you go through dealership finance and all that kind of stuff, most people generally go through the dealer. That's generally how it works, as you all know. You can definitely go and buy privately. That's definitely an option. You've got plenty of options there, but nowadays a lot of the private sales are cash buyers, or they're buyers that either pull money out of the mortgage, or they get an unsecured personal loan and they just get the cash. And a few different other ways as well. There's probably more, I don't know, but a lot of the private stuff that you see is generally cash. Not all the time, but generally. Pre-approved anyway, you're good to go. So once you're pre-approved, your broker will let you know. Good news, we're good to go. A lot of the time, you'll already know what you want at the car dealership, and you know what you want, and you'll just tell the salesman, if you can get me into that, I'm good to go, providing everything is fine. A lot of the time you've gone in and driven it, or if you're with an online dealership, you've done it all over the phone and over the internet, or if you're in a remote location, it's all done that way as well. And then once you're happy, it's a pretty straight through process after that. It's just really making sure that you're happy with the car. Then after that, you want to make sure that you're happy with all the paperwork. So we're going to get through that as well. So a couple of things first of all to start off with. When you are in that pre-approval stage and you go out looking for the car, obviously, if you do test drive the car, which obviously everyone has always done, these days the landscape of the online car buying experience can be a little bit different, where people don't test drive. And feel free to comment if you've ever bought a car and not test driven it. It's pretty common practice these days. A lot of people who buy brand new cars off the rack, it's just give me that one. I've seen it plenty of times. The salesman at the new car dealer just goes, here's your keys, doesn't even tell you a single feature in the car. It's just sign the paperwork, see you later, mate. That's general practice. That's how it goes. I'm sure that's probably happened to a few people out there that are watching the video now. But obviously if you're buying used cars as well, you do want to take it for a bit of a test drive if you're locally, just to check that it does drive okay. Again, if it's an online side of things, you don't get that option. You do trust the dealer. But test driving the car, making sure that it seems to drive okay is generally a good thing. You look out for some loud noises, some creaks. Again, I'm not a mechanic. Get a pre-mechanical inspection by a trusted mechanic on the car is sometimes a good option. But generally, when you buy through the dealer, which is a really good thing to do, is that you do get the benefit and the guarantee of the product, because with the dealers, they have to back up the product and through warranties and all that side of things, and we all know how that works. We've all had bad experiences, we've all had really good experiences. It just depends who you deal with. I don't want to single out people that have done things wrong or good, you know, but we want to try and make sure that everyone stops having issues with dodgy dealers and bullshit roadworthies and all this kind of stuff, and we just want to make sure that things are nice and transparent. But then, you know, if you look at the Facebook marketplace side of things, which is where a lot of people are going these days to buy and flick cars, you know, it's not easy, because a lot of those cars out there that you're buying, you know, they're not the best. But sometimes you can find a really good car. We've all bought good cars out of marketplace, but sometimes you can find some pretty tragic ones as well. So driving it is a big one. Have a look for, obviously, wear and tear. I mean, it's standard stuff that you guys probably already know, but obviously going through the logbook service history is a big one. If there's no logbooks in the car, why is there no logbooks in the car? Are there service stickers up in the top right-hand corner of the window? If there's not, why isn't there a service sticker in the top right-hand corner of the window? And that can be a whole bunch of things. So checking the service history is a big one. And obviously, as we all know, you know, you can do your pre-history checks on the cars. So you can go on to the government PPSR, which generally just shows you if it's got clear title, if it's been written off, if it's been stolen, all that kind of stuff. It does exclude Tasmania, I believe it says, but it gives you all the vehicle identifiers and all that kind of stuff. Then you can also pay, I think it's $38, and if you want to go on carhistory.com, carhistory.com will actually give you a lot more of a detailed report on the car. And it can tell you, you know, every time it changed hands, and a whole bunch of things. I haven't got one of them on me now, but if you really want to know a lot of the stuff, you can get one of them as well. I highly advise you to get one of them. They're very good. A lot of the dealers these days, even when they purchase a used car off a, you know, normal person off the side of the street, we'll do one of them straight away. We'll try and work out if there's something shady going on, you know, because there's a lot of shady people out there doing lots of stuff these days with cars. We need to try and work out what's going on so we don't on-sell a car with the dramas that bloke sold us. So I reckon do one of them. It's $40. It's not the cheapest, but you are buying a car, so I'd spend the extra 40. So do one of them. Mechanical checks, test drive it. You know, check the paint condition as well. What you find as well, and this happens to everyone. A lot of people will present a car, and then when you see it in sight, it's not what it looked like in the photos. It's not necessarily done intentionally. It can be just how the photos were taken on the day. But seeing it in plain sight, it's like anything. You'll see me on the video, but in real life, I'm a much better looking bloke. I'm only joking. You know, when you're looking at cars, you know, online and on your phone versus in real life is two completely different things. So checking paintwork is a big one. Even a couple of little tips as well. You know, look for blemishes, swirl marks. Another one that I learnt was lining up the bonnets. Guys, please comment some stuff that you can help other people listening to the channel about buying a car. Even little things like lining up, you know, the bonnet and seeing if the bonnet's been bent or not, if it's straight or not. You know, having a look at the rear bumpers, the front bumpers, if they've been re-clipped, and if there's anything there that can show a sign of an accident that's been covered up. Try and check for that kind of stuff. And trust me, there are shitloads of cars out there that have had accidents that we've all bought. You don't know about them, and it's all been covered up by someone who's done it, and they've done the dodgy, and you're driving it. So do your best. Get on a second set of eyes to have a look over it as well as a good one, because there's probably something that you've missed that maybe someone else can pick up. And this goes for everyone, you know, both men and women. You know, don't just think this is directed at a certain sex. Men are more stupid than women a lot of the times with cars. You know, so just get a second opinion every time you have a look at a car. And then obviously you want to look at the negotiation and the price side of things. Now this is a bit of a challenging one. It is a pretty competitive market price-wise now with cars. In the COVID era, as we all knew, the price of cars just shot through the roof, and that was generally because there was a shortage of all the new cars coming into the country. So there was limited stock of the used cars coming through because a lot of them weren't getting traded into the dealership, so the supply through the dealer market was quite short, and also a few other reasons. Won't go into that. But yeah, they went up about 30 to 40%. So they were just huge money cars, and it was a problem for everyone, both dealers and buyers, because the dealers couldn't buy the cars because there weren't any out there, and the ones that we could buy, we were pretty much paying the same price that the consumer was paying. So then the dealer had to put the price up, which just made it more expensive for everyone. But nowadays the prices have come down, the stock's come back through. So everything's free flowing again. So prices are pretty competitive. You will find though as well, a lot of the big companies as well, they do what's called a fixed fee now, where it's just, there's no negotiation. So you walk in, it's kind of sad the way the sales game's going. Years ago, you'd meet some really good used car salesmen who really gave the time out of their life to sell you a car, and they'd spend all day with you selling you a car and making you tea and coffee and making sure that you were happy to try and get you a car, to sell your car. But nowadays, you just get this 18 or 19-year-old idiot who's just on his phone all day and just looks up to you and says, "Sign here, thank you," gives you the keys and doesn't even help sell you a car or give you the time of his day. We need to change that. We need to get good customer service back into the trade, and we need to make people feel happy about buying a car. So that non-negotiation side of things, that's my opinion in life is everything can be negotiated. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are, what you are. A lot of these dealers, they'll just hold their price because they're going to sell the car anyway, but that's up to them. Good for them. They're obviously doing something right, so it works for them, so good on them. But then you'll have a lot of the places that are negotiable. I knocked $7,000 off a brand new car at a dealer for my mum in COVID times. And I also caught the salesman out trying to sell me the previous year's model, so I made him sell me the current year's model. And I did that. Obviously I have industry experience, but I didn't tell him that. But I still worked the deal and the car was $39,000, and I got it for 32 in the current year model car. So that's on a brand new one out the door. So everything is negotiable. So do your research. Don't be scared to negotiate as well. Some people can be a little bit sort of scared and they think, I don't want to hurt his feelings or whatever. Screw it, man. It's a car. Have a go. These days, most people do. We get some pretty hard negotiators that can come in and buy a car, and it can be a pretty painful experience as well. We can get people from all around the world that come in from different cultures who are used to that kind of thing, and that's great. We welcome that. And then we'll get a lot of local people that just go in there and go quite hard at the price. Some people are pretty easy, but my tip is have a go. You'll never know. So try and wiggle it down. There's lots of stuff that you can ask for as well. You can ask for add-ons as well and get things chucked in. So have a go, see how you go. But sometimes the car might be priced well enough as it is, and there's just no more room to go, and the dealer will flat out just say, look, we can sell it to you or we can sell it to someone else. If you want the car that badly, this is the price. Keep in mind as well when you do buy through dealers, there are taxes and a lot of things that have to be paid out of that car. So there are lots of overheads. There are lots of state and federal taxes that need to be paid, and registrations and things like that. So you do have to bear with the dealer. They don't get that whole amount. They do work on quite small margins these days. So it's not, as I like to say, we're drinking beer, not champagne. So keep that in mind. So don't be too hard, but try and see what you can do. So understanding the dealer's perspective is a good one. Understanding the profit margins is a good one, but we don't really need to go into that. And also, this does happen. You keep in mind you can always walk away from a deal. Before you've signed the paperwork and taken the car home. And these days, there's even some companies out there that do a 7-day return policy as well. But these days, if you negotiate at the table, you know, if you're not feeling right, if you're feeling uncomfortable, you can always walk away, and you can shop around, and you can talk to other people. Don't, you know, feel like you're cornered into the room and you've got to jump on it. Reach out, you know, talk to people, send me a message. I'll give you some advice, some free advice. You know, talk to some people that hopefully comment in the chat. We're still just getting up and running, but this channel will grow, and there will be people commenting and talking. Reach out. And then obviously there's the finalising your purchase side of things and taking delivery of your car. Now this is, again, what I've been touching on is more so when you go through the dealer. Going through the private side of things is a completely different kettle of fish. As a buyer and as a seller, pretty much all of us have sold cars privately. We've all bought cars privately, most of us. We generally know how it works. But we will talk about that in another episode. And we're going to get out and do some videos about some really interesting stuff and what happens. But anyway, so when you do sit down with a dealer, you know, everything will be outlined in the agreement. It'll have all the details. Generally, you'll have, and each state is different, but you'll have your paperwork. I won't really go into that too much, but you know, it does pay to read over it. Just double check everything, just so you know where you're at. Most people these days, to be honest, they'll just go, yep, sign here, see you later, thank you very much, give me the keys, I'm out of here. That's what most people do these days, but you know, sometimes it does pay to read over stuff and just double check everything, just to make sure that, you know, everything's all hunky-dory. You know, a couple of things, you know, just make sure that you do look out for, and again, every state's different, but you know, just look out for extra charges. Just make sure that the price that you've agreed on is the price right down the bottom of the sales contract, and that includes everything. So if it's X amount, it needs to be that amount and no more. I know some places overseas are different. You know, I saw some video on YouTube in America. There was some kid trying to buy a $52,000 car, and the dealer said it was, the final price was 72. He upped it by 20 grand, and that's US. So I don't know what happens over there, and that's how they do their things. Everything is on top in America, but generally in Australia, if we agree to the price with the dealer, it's generally the round price. Just understand what's included in that price. When you do have that round driveway price, there are lots and lots of things involved in that price that the dealer does have to pay. So there's lots of things going out, and there's lots of things that you can claim as well. So understanding your paperwork and finalising that is good. So that's just for the car. That's the car side of things. And then you've obviously got the finance side of things as well. So these days, everything gets done electronic. Nothing's really paper anymore. You know, all the finance companies are quite good that I've dealt with. We don't have any problems with them. They're very good to deal with. Some are fast, some are slow. You know, everyone's different. But you know, just make sure that you're comfortable with everything. They wouldn't be financing you if they didn't feel they weren't comfortable with you paying the car. But you know, just double check everything that you're happy with that. You know, the interest rates, the repayments, what's included, the fees, the charges. Just be wary of that. You know, you do have to be careful. I've bought cars plenty of times. You know, I've been in the industry 20 years. And I've been absolutely smashed with interest rates and fees and payments and things that I didn't know about because I didn't read it properly or I wasn't told about it. So, you know, just be a little bit mindful of that. But again, I don't want to put anything bad over the finance companies. They are giving you money, so remember that. They are giving you money for a car because you don't have the money to pay for the car a lot of the time, so you got to be mindful. But again, you know, each to their own. Sign the paperwork, get all that done. Then once you're happy, you'll generally have a settlement. The car will settle, or sometimes the dealer will just give you the keys and say, "Hey, you're good to go." Once all the paperwork's done, and you've got your car and you're good to go. There's a lot of other things involved, but I'm just trying to get through this stuff as quick as possible so this video doesn't drag on for 73 hours. And then obviously you've got after the sale. Now, a good thing about going through a dealer as opposed to going through a private, you know, whoever it is that you've got the after sale side of things. So if you have any problems, you've got the customer service there to deal with straight away. You can reach out and get help. I've had customers call me at 3 in the morning. I've picked up, even though I didn't want to. I just rang because I thought something was wrong, and customer had a flat battery. Nothing we can do, but until 8 o'clock in the morning. But things like that happen. So you've got the after sales side of things. You just need to obviously understand as well. Another good thing to understand is your warranty and your insurance coverage. Especially insurance, you definitely need to be insured, because lots of people have accidents, and you want to make sure that both you and the person, if you do have an accident, are both obviously safe first, but obviously covered for the car. So understanding all that side of things is fine. Don't lie on your policies as well whenever you do insurance stuff as well. Never works. And then if you do have an accident and you've lied about something, they don't pay, so you lose. Big thing, one big tip is just service your car. So take it to the mechanics, at the intervals that are advised in your logbook from the manufacturer. And we can take it anywhere. You don't have to go to the manufacturer. They generally advise you to, because they built the car, so they know the car best. So generally you do that. On the new car side of things, you've got your new car warranties, so you generally want to go there, because they are pretty good, and they are pretty cheap these days. But if it's a slightly cheaper used vehicle, you can take it to your family mechanic, and he'll do a normal service for a reasonably good price, and he'll let you know some upcoming things that will need to be changed in the future. If you've bought a car off Marketplace for a couple of grand and you've got a roadworthy, and you've banged some reg on it, and you know how to do an oil and a filter change yourself, and change the transmission oil and muck around with it a few times and play around with it, cool. I'm not saying that's the best. It's always best to go to a professional who's done a 4-year apprenticeship, who know how to treat the cars, but servicing the cars is a big one. The reason why we have so many of these cars out there on the road that are breaking down all the time and having issues is servicing. So I'm a big believer in servicing. Service your cars. As I like to say, if you look after your car, it will look after you. So definitely do that. Set reminders for your servicing as well. So a lot of the times in the newer cars, it'll come up on your computer, on your screen. It'll say there's a service maintenance ready to go. Put it in your phone as a reminder. In 10,000 Ks or in 3 or 6 months, call the mechanic to book in for a service. So set some reminders. Alright guys, so there's a few things there that we've roughly capped on. That's a lot of information to take in, but I'll recap on what we've sort of spoke about. So obviously, the first thing that we want to look at is preparing for the car purchase. Look at, are you going to buy something dear? Are you going to buy something new? Is it going to be a cheapie? All that kind of stuff. So work out exactly what you want out of the car. So look at the budgeting side of things. Are you paying cash? Are you going to finance? Are you going to borrow from family? There's lots of other options out there. So work out the funds. It does help everyone if you've got your money ready to go to buy a car, or if you are ready to apply. I know lots of business owners out there, not just selling cars, but across the spectrum. We're here to do business. We want to get your business. But we also want to make sure that the customer's happy at the same time. But with cars, things do cost money. Just make sure that you're ready to buy, or you're slightly ready to buy. If you are in the looking phase side of things, that's perfectly fine. What I suggest is if you're just looking and you're sort of, 1 or 2, 6 months or 12 months out from buying a car, have a look online. They're all online. And then maybe on a Sunday, when the dealers are closed or at night, cruise through the car yards. If you just want to see them, go out there and have a look at them, so we're not wasting the salesman's time. So do your research, obviously. Look at what you want, evaluate your wants and your needs, do all the researching online, work out if we're financing or paying cash, work out if you're going to go through the dealer, If you're going to go through the bank or a whole bunch of other options, you can definitely go through my finance options as well. I've got plenty of facilities ready to go. So if you do need some advice or some help, reach out to me at Aussie Car Deals. I will put the description details of my business in the comments. So anything that you need, feel free to reach out. You know, I don't make any money until you literally buy a car off me, so it's all free. So if you want some free advice off me and you just want to know where you stand or what, I'm happy. I don't care. You know, I'm here to hopefully sell cars down the track, and I'm not expecting to do something straight away. But if you need some help, give us a call. I can point you in the right direction, and that's Australia-wide too. So we're not just based in Brisbane. We do business all around the country, and we can point you in the right direction. Happy to, even if you wanted to look at buying a car and you didn't have mum or dad around, or someone, your partner left you and you needed a bit of assistance purchasing the car, give me a call. I'm happy to call up the dealer and act on your behalf, and try and broker a deal. You know, there will be a surcharge for that I charge, but happy to help out on that side of things. Then obviously look at all the pre-approval side of things, get all that done, get all your paperwork in, do all your shopping for the car. So get into the dealers, test drive your cars, or if it's online, get it all done online. Check the car thoroughly, get someone to have a look at it. If not, trust your dealer if it's online. Hopefully you can trust him. Negotiate a deal, so try and negotiate a deal if you can. Also understand the dealer's perspective. And then finalise the purchase. Get the paperwork done, and get in your car, and you are good to go, mate. And guys, so that's pretty much about it. If you got any questions, or if you are a little bit confused or you need some help, send me a message or an email at Aussie Car Deals. All the details are on the website. We will link it in the comments. Or comment down below. Guys, we just started this channel a couple of days ago. We've got 2 likes and 29 views, so I reckon we're going sensational. Hopefully we can keep pumping those numbers up. Haven't had a comment in the comment yet, so I'm looking for my first comment. If you're still at the end of this video and still watching, and you want to be the first person to comment, don't really have any merch to send out yet, but I will work out something for you. I'm sure we can give you a fuel voucher for $20 to get you around for a little while. So first comment on the YouTube channel gets a $20 fuel voucher directly sent from Tommy. Thanks guys, it's been great. Have a nice night. Bye now.